Okay, is this going to work? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Is that too loud? That's kind of loud, isn't it? But now the problem is, how do we turn it down? I have no idea. Is that better? 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 Can you hear me okay? Not too loud. All right, we'll go with that. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the EPIC weekly or bi-weekly seminar, depending on where we are during the course of the semester. And it's good to see you this afternoon. My name is David Young. I'm a professor of civil engineering, and I'm the interim director of EPIC. As you may know, Dr. Johan Ensslin, our 5-year-long director, resigned to take a position at another university. So we're actively recruiting a new director, and I'm serving in that interim, or in that capacity in the interim, and helping search for a new director. So we should have that position filled very soon, and I look forward to introducing you to him or her at that time. But in the meantime, welcome to the seminar. We're going to talk a little bit today about what's happening in the realm of energy workforce development, career opportunities, and on the speaking team today are Asher Haines, who is the recently hired director of our continuing education department at UNC Charlotte. Asher joined us from after a distinguished career at the University of Phoenix, where he was directing all of the activities in Florida, I believe. So, of course, you know the University of Phoenix is a large online educational activity and facility. They've developed quite a reputation for delivering educational materials and programs in that venue, and he brings that experience to UNC Charlotte, and we look forward to that. He's already having an effect here as we move not only to strengthen our activities, our conventional career development, professional development activities, but also move more heavily into online activities. So we're glad to have him here. And then also speaking from the same office of continuing education will be Samantha Abt-Bumgarner, who's been in that office for several years, 12 years, and is a program manager within that program, specializing in engineering. And is it primarily engineering? It is. Yes. So she's going to, together, they're going to share with you not only some of the things that are happening globally within the realm of continuing education and professional development, but also what's happening here at UNC Charlotte, and then specifically what's happening within the realm of energy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening in energy overall, the energy sector. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening here at UNC Charlotte on the academic side, what's available to you to prepare yourselves for careers in energy, if you're interested. And then Asher and Samantha are going to talk to you about opportunities here on the professional development side, the career development side, not only as students, but once you graduate. If there is an area right now that lifelong learning is paramount, it is the energy sector. It is changing so rapidly, almost daily. Folks that have been in the energy community for 20 and 30 years are retraining and re-educating themselves to take advantage of new opportunities. And folks, that's all we want for you today, is to present these opportunities to you, for you to consider, and then maybe take a step or two to make yourselves more prepared, maybe more marketable, as you seek a wealth of opportunity in the energy arena. And so if we accomplish that in the next 45 or 50 minutes, we've done a good job. We'll save some time at the end for questions, and hopefully we have some answers. And so we'll do that in a few minutes. So again, we want to talk about what's happening in the energy sector in general, what's happening on the academic side at UNC Charlotte, what's happening on the professional development side at UNC Charlotte to help you be better prepared for these career opportunities. Now, this building, EPIC, is a magnificent facility. EPIC stands for Energy Production and Infrastructure Center. And you may not fully realize the effect that energy had on the construction, or the development and construction of this building. Yes, the civil engineering department is in this building, and the electrical computer engineering department is in this building, but this building came about because the energy professionals, the energy industry, came to this campus about 8 years ago and said, we need help. And I was in those early meetings, and the sole conversation, the sole focus of those conversations at that point was, we need workers of the future. We need well-educated engineers, actually not just engineers, businessmen and women, policy people who can move into the energy sector and be our workforce of the future. So those were the early conversations, and out of that conversation and dozens afterwards came the concept for a facility that could not only assist in workforce development, that's you, but also technology development, research development, and economic development. And then out of all that came this magnificent building, which the state of North Carolina graciously funded. I don't know if I have any numbers up there, at about $80 million, $76 million. And to date, industry has supported that with an additional $25 million. So it's serious business. They're serious about wanting you to be prepared for careers in this industry. And they're ready to hire. They are hiring. So what's going on? And what has created this gap between energy workload and energy workforce? There simply aren't enough people to do the work. So I'll have a brief, and I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. Julia, our public relations and marketing person in EPIC, is going to put this on the website. You can look at it in more detail later. But there are some key energy issues that are driving all of this. This being the need for the workers of the future. And you might not be surprised by some of these. There's a growing expectation in the United States that this country have something they're calling energy independence or energy security. Energy security simply means energy is affordable and reliable and safe. And we do have an ability to be independent of some of the global forces that have controlled our energy policy and our energy process for so long. So there's a huge effort in the U.S. for energy independence and energy security. That means jobs. It means opportunities for you. And you can read some of these others. How do we do this? How do we expand our energy production in the United States and not add to the carbon footprint? Global warming, climate change, whatever you hear as that phrase. That is a serious issue. And energy production is a major player in that realm. How do we do both of those? That's a challenge that you, in your career, if you decide to go into energy, you will help address and solve. You may not fully appreciate the environmental and the water aspects of energy. If you walk through this building and you realize that this building was basically designed by our energy industry partners, and you go up on the third floor and to some extent on the first floor and you see beautiful environmental laboratories, you might ask yourselves, why are these here? I would expect more electrical, mechanical, energy production, turbines and those kinds of things in these laboratories. It's because water and environmental aspects of energy are huge concerns. If you've read the literature, you know that a growing area of work and research is something they call the water-energy nexus, where water and energy come together. They're dependent on each other. And energy depends very heavily on not only on water quantity, but water quality for efficient production. So you see some of the things that are happening here that are driving our energy initiatives in the U.S. today. There's a new energy business model that's developing. For years, energy companies, mainly the utilities, billed for their product kilowatt hours just on a per kilowatt hour basis. You burn your light bulbs for so many hours, you pay for the kilowatts that you used during that period of time. And you'll see in a second on one slide that our energy consumption in the U.S. is dropping significantly. So the per kilowatt basis for running their business doesn't work so well anymore. There has to be a new business model, and they're moving more toward a service-oriented business model. So again, if you embark on your career in that sector, you'll be working under a slightly different business model than those that have been there for 30 or 40 years already. So here's what I was talking about. Energy security and independence is a real driver in the U.S. right now, and by that we mean affordability, availability, reliability, and sustainability. And all must accomplish the 4 big E's. And I don't know whether you've heard these phrases or not, but it's energy, environment, economy, and efficiency. And if you think about all that, you look at the phrases and the terms on this slide, it's far more than just technology. You will all be wonderful engineers. And I don't know, maybe some of you are in here from other departments. I hope so. But probably most of you are in engineering department. And you will be great engineers. I have no doubt about that. And that training and that preparation will allow you to do the technology pieces of your jobs in energy. But that logic that you've developed, that you've used, that problem-solving skill that you've developed will allow you to move into these other peripheral areas that are now becoming equally important in the energy sector. Business, economy, management, policy, you'll be able to handle that with the training that you have as an engineer. So keep your minds open and your eyes open for those opportunities, because they're going to be even larger in this energy sector. And you probably aren't surprised by the fact that worldwide energy consumption is growing, projected to grow as our population grows. No surprise there. So the overall volume of energy consumption is going up, but the energy consumption per capita is going down. So what does that mean? How can that be? Energy consumption is going up as the population goes up. So overall, we're using more kilowatt hours, but energy consumption per capita and energy use per dollar of GDP in 2005 dollars is going down. So what does that tell you? What does that say to you? How can population be going up, but kilowatt per person usage is going down? What? A large denominator. Efficiency. Somebody said efficiency. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's efficiency. That's another aspect. Efficiency and conservation are huge aspects of the energy spectrum now that weren't so much there 20, 30 years ago. And I'll be surprised if you're working for any company in any portion of the industry where you don't address energy efficiency and energy conservation. And so thus also the driver for the utilities, the energy producers, to develop new business models, because they're not getting as many dollars per kilowatt per person anymore. So they have to find a new way to go about making their profits and satisfying their shareholders. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a new model is required. Some major decisions have to be made related to energy. And this, folks, by all means, this by no means is this all of them. This just gives you an idea of some of the decisions, decision-making process you'll be a part of, and hopefully will have a hand in. How much should we invest in renewable energy versus traditional energy, where we might call traditional energy nuclear, coal, oil, maybe now natural gas? How far do we go with that? Well, there's a large section of our population that says all the way. We should be 100% renewable. All solar, wind, ocean, geothermal, hydro, whatever you consider to be renewable. And there's another large section of the population that says, well, that's not prudent. Maybe we're there 50 years from now, but it's got to be a slow transitional process. But what is the process? You'll play a role in that. How do we reduce the carbon footprint? If indeed the CO2 that's being produced through energy production is affecting the climate and bringing about and contributing to climate change and global warming, What do we do about that? So those of you that maybe are a little more on the environmental side with your interest, you'll be heavily involved in that activity. And I won't read all of them, you can look through them, but as natural gas has just stormed onto the scene with discoveries of natural gas deposits, with our ability to accomplish hydraulic fracking more safely and efficiently, and our desire to reduce our dependency on coal, and our desire, maybe 50-50, to reduce our dependency on nuclear, you throw all that in the hopper and coal plants are being retired. Nuclear construction has slowed, and natural gas use and construction and production has just accelerated. Well, how long will that continue? Is it wise for us to make these decisions based on a 30-year projection? Or is this a fad that's going to change in the next 3 or 4 years? Nobody's quite sure. You'll be involved in those energy decisions. You'll either be working on the technology side to help make those decisions, or you'll slowly over your career move into the management and policy side and maybe have a more direct contribution to those decisions. Globally, you won't find many energy companies now, well, let's back up, the larger companies that don't work on the global stage. Yes, you'll be contributing to the activities in the US, the energy activities, but more than likely you'll be involved in activities worldwide. And you'll see trends worldwide that are slightly different than trends in the US. For example, worldwide, there's actually a growing dependency on coal. In the US, there's a declining dependency on coal. Some parts of the world have a greater dependency on hydropower than other parts of the world. We're pretty heavily dependent on nuclear, although that seems to be leveling off now. But there are other countries that are forging ahead with even more nuclear power, and so forth and so on. And so you get a feel here for across the globe what's projected in the next 25 years for coal, natural gas, nuclear, hydropower, and renewables. And if you look at that, in the past, if you just look at percentages based on the different colors, looks to me like the two colors that are showing the most significant increase, relatively speaking, not absolute, but relatively speaking, are renewables and natural gas for the reasons that we just mentioned. Is that going to hold? Time will tell. You'll be involved in those activities. And I went ahead and showed a similar plot for the United States, and you see a similar color spread. Maybe we have a little more dependency on hydropower and a little less dependency on coal. So you'll be involved in all of those. Now that's, if you think about the things we just talked about, that's civil engineers, electrical, mechanical, systems, engineering technologists. Nobody's excluded from the activities that are going on now and that are needed in the near future. And then there's the confusion. I mean, this is way too busy. Anybody that's an expert in public speaking would tell you don't ever put a slide like this on your PowerPoint. But I wanted you to see across the country, this is a couple of years old, so I need to update it. But what's happening in the individual states in terms of what they're doing with renewable energy. Each state has a renewable energy portfolio standard that says something like, by 2020, 15% of our energy is going to be renewable, produced by renewables. And each state might define their renewables a little differently. Solar, wind, geothermal, ocean energy, whatever that might be. But look, if you look at some of the yellow boxes, every state is different of the 29 states that have renewable energy portfolio standards. I think there are about 10 others that have goals. There are others that are considering it, and there are a few that aren't considering it. But so you're working in your office as an energy engineer, whatever that means, and your company invariably is working across the U.S., and you have to try to juggle all of these differences to help make decisions on projects, where they need to be located, how economically viable are they going to be, what's going to be the return on investment for our company or for our shareholders, and then how do we go about building these things to take advantage of these standards when there are 39 of them and soon to be more across the U.S. So there's a confusion factor in here as well, and maybe confusion is not the right word. Just there are a lot of differences across the U.S. in the way the states are approaching their energy policies. You know, one of the issues we have in the U.S. is we don't have a unifying national energy policy. And so as the states come in to try to fill that void, we have all of these differences. Just makes your work a little more challenging. And of course, as we said earlier, natural gas is on the rise in this country in particular because of the things that we mentioned, our ability to hydraulically frack the gas, the discovery of reserves, and then our desire to move away from other fuel sources, coal and nuclear in particular. You may have read that North Carolina, depending on the source, is either the second or third most aggressive state in the U.S. in terms of new solar installations. And that's pretty remarkable when you think about California and Arizona and New Mexico and all the states out there that have all those days of sunshine. For us to be at that level says that this state, North Carolina, through its renewable energy portfolio standard and other drivers, has decided to take renewables seriously. State of North Carolina a few years ago set up an Ocean Energy Research Institute on the Outer Banks. It's run through NC State, but it's open to any university in the state system to participate. So they're very aggressively pursuing renewable energy as an option in this state. But if you look at this figure over here, and this just shows photovoltaic activity during the course of a 24-hour day, what's the problem? Just from a common sense perspective. So photovoltaic potential, meaning the sun shining, during the 24-hour day, what's keeping us from just wholeheartedly adopting solar universally? Pardon? It's inconsistent. The sun doesn't shine, you know, at 4 a.m. or at 8 p.m. And so there's a lot, and those of you, especially in the electrical mechanical world, I won't be surprised if a number of you don't find careers in a rapidly emerging technology area of battery storage or energy storage. That's the missing key. And from what we read in the literature, several companies are close to solving this problem, meaning adequate storage capabilities so that when we're producing excessive energy from solar during the day, it can be stored adequately and sufficiently enough to get us through the evenings or the cloudy days. We haven't quite gotten to that point yet, but there's a lot of activity being put into energy storage and new battery technologies. And many of you will work in that regard. And as that happens, you're going to see something else, which is already happening, the microgrids and the distributed energy, where you'll have communities. Maybe it's wind-powered energy, maybe it's solar power, but they'll have their own energy-producing facility for their community, their own microgrid that powers their community off of that solar or that wind or that biofuel, bioenergy, or whatever the case might be. It's happening already. And the utilities are learning to adjust to that and accommodate that in their new business model. Think about it. That pulls all those users off of their customer list, which hurts their income. They've got to find a way to adjust and accommodate for that loss of income, and they're doing that. So let's look at a few trends, and then we'll talk about education for the last half of our seminar. I've talked about some of these already. Increased emphasis on renewables, decreased emphasis on coal because of the carbon dioxide output, our concern for the environment, a move toward natural gas, and because of Fukushima several years ago and some other concerns, there is a lull now in new nuclear plant construction. And actually it's moving to a point where some companies, some utilities are looking at decommissioning some existing nuclear plants. And you might say, well, okay, that's good, that's bad, I'm not sure. Regardless, just to give you an example, and I may embellish a little bit, but a typical decommissioning project on a nuclear plant takes several years and costs billions of dollars to decommission. So if you're working for a company that does decommissioning work, that's a lot of regulatory monitoring, performance monitoring, and engineering work that has to be done, construction work that has to be done. So even in that realm, of, in an area you might not normally think about, say the decommissioning realm, there's a lot of need for qualified engineers. Same thing's happening not on the delivery and the end-use side. So there are trends in the production side that we just talked about, but there are trends on getting the energy from the production unit to the end user, your house, for example. And a lot of that has to do with improving the grid. We have an aging energy grid, electric grid, that needs improvement. Everything from new transmission towers to new cabling that can carry more power to the ability to bury our cables underground and so forth and so on. Grid security is a huge issue right now, not only physical security, but cyber security. And you might not think about energy and transportation because you may be thinking the traditional, power plant, electrical, mechanical, civil. But there's as much energy consumed in our transportation world as in our residential and commercial world. And so there's a lot of effort in energy efficient cars and electric cars and hybrid vehicles and autonomous vehicles and hybrid buses and hydrogen fuel cell powered trains and on and on and on that many of you will have an opportunity to work in. Quite a few of you, or several of you anyway, will probably end up doing some work for the military, which is a huge consumer of energy. If you think about the military facilities around the country, around the world, if you just looked at the U.S. military on their own, they'd be the 50th largest country in the world in terms of energy consumption. And recently, it's been fairly recent for them, but all the branches of the military have taken on very aggressive energy efficiency, energy conservation measures because of what it costs the U.S. government to energize those activities. And you can see some of the details here, but there's a growing opportunity for work and need for expertise in that arena. This is aimed more for, I'm a civil engineer, so this is sort of aimed at the civils in the group, but the American Society of Civil Engineers, I'm sorry I didn't put that acknowledgement up there, I'll do that before we publish it, every 2 years puts out the report card on the United States infrastructure. And it's an A through F report card with about 10 subject areas: bridges, roads, water treatment, waste treatment, waterways, energy. The most recent report card that came out on energy infrastructure, now this is not energy production, these are civil engineers, so they're more interested in the transmission towers and the cooling towers and transformer stations and that kind of hard infrastructure stuff. For a number of reasons, I won't read all of them here, graded America's energy infrastructure with a D+. And they went in, if you have a chance, you can go online, you can look at this report, and they give quite a bit of detail on why there's such a low grade there. Most of it is the aging infrastructure. For example, transmission towers. You drive down the highway, you see transmission towers everywhere. They've been there a long time. They transmit or carry that electricity from the power plant out to regions where the electricity is then distributed to the user. It's very difficult to purchase the land rights and the right-of-way to put in more transmission lines. Actually, for environmental concerns, it's almost impossible anymore. So the opportunity for the utilities to distribute more energy to the growing population is to use the existing right-of-way. That's the existing transmission towers on the right-of-way. Well, they can't increase the size of their transmission towers because they're limited on the right-of-way. So the only hope is to run more electricity through the cables, the conductors that are already there. And they're working feverishly on a higher capacity conductor so they can run more electrons through the lines using the existing right-of-way because they simply can't get more right-of-way. That is a big environmental and infrastructure problem. All right, so all of that said, folks, and really all of that, and I'm running out of time here, I've got to turn this over, was to convince you that needs for engineering and engineering prepared, technologically prepared people in the energy sector, those needs are huge. And I've just scratched the surface. Another thing that's happening, though, is the energy industry in general has not done a lot of hiring in the last 20 to 30 years. And so if you look at a graph of this growing workload and a soon-to-retire workforce, there's a huge gap of work that's got to be done by someone. And they're looking for those someones now, and maybe it's you. So you see here, there's the average age is around 55 years old. They've been in these jobs for 25, 35 years. They're getting ready to retire en masse. So it's a good opportunity for you. And we talked about some of these other things, some of the challenges in that last paragraph in our aging infrastructure. I won't read all of this, but as I mentioned to you, as I get ready to hand it over to our professional development experts, the original concern for EPIC was workforce development, to educate you for careers in energy. And the past 4 years since we opened our doors, we have energy concentrations and all the undergraduate engineering programs. So you can pick electives as mechanicals, civils, electricals from a prescribed list and have that designation on your transcript. Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, concentration in energy, mechanical systems, all the programs have those undergraduate concentrations. So if you're interested in this and you want to get a leg up on your competition as you apply for jobs with energy companies, that should be helpful. We have we have several master's programs with an energy focus. You can do your, those of you that know the master's program, you can choose your research topic pretty much as you wish. So you simply align yourself with an energy faculty member and they'll direct you to the courses that you need to take, and you can have an energy focused master's. We have several master's degrees though that are specifically aimed at energy. We also have an MBA program through our College of Business here with an energy focus. And we're in the process of working for master's degrees in public policy and architecture with an energy focus. And it's for those students that want to get that advanced study in the energy arena. Several of our programs are coordinated with other universities in the area, and one or two are coordinated with international universities where you get a joint degree with those universities as well. And so how has that gone so far? How is EPIC doing? Well, I won't bother you with all the details, but if you just plotted a line through the bar charts, you'll see that since 2011, the number of students enrolling in energy concentrations has been on the rise. So we're encouraged by that. But our energy industry partners tell us it's still not enough. They need more students. They need more graduates. The number of students that are graduating from those concentrations is on the rise. That's good. The number of students simply taking energy courses, not pursuing the formal concentration, but just taking an energy course, is on the rise. And so I think that's going very well. But what I want to leave you with before we turn it over is opportunities and needs for you abound in the energy sector. There are opportunities here on the academic side at UNC Charlotte to help you prepare to pursue those careers. And I encourage you to talk to your advisor, talk to your department head, your undergrad coordinator. Come see me if you want to think about that. Now, on the other side of the education spectrum, on the professional development side, there's a lot going on that I think you want to hear about as well. A lot of that may pertain to you more once you graduate, but you will find it interesting. So Asher is going to start off that discussion with you and share with you some of the things that are happening in that part of the energy education world, and then Samantha's going to do the same. So Asher.
Thank you. Right. right, good afternoon, and thank you, David. When we got the invitation to come out here, I know that David is one of our, I'd probably say, when you look at all the faculty in the university, one of our strongest supporters and partners in continuing education, and his passion really shines through. And you can tell just here today, but you can also, when you're meeting with him, talking to him about his experience in the past working in the industry, being a faculty member here, leading the ethic organization.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
And hogging a microphone. To me, he stays well connected to what's happening in the industry, how to apply it in the classroom today, and then help us do that in continuing education as well. So when you think about continuing education and extended academic programs, what does that mean? I can make this part interactive. So, and actually, before I do that, maybe I want to make sure I understand my audience too. I understood that it's probably mostly students, so raise your hand if you're a student. And some faculty, maybe, yeah. And then maybe a couple industry practitioners, industry, excellent. Okay, so we do have everybody represented. So when we talk about extended academic programs at UNC Charlotte and continuing education, what do you think that means?
For a sector, technology improves, research improves, you have to go and retrain workforce, right?
So he's saying stay connected, continuous improvement, continual learning, right? And what we do specifically at the university here in our department is we're basically extending the reach of the university to beyond traditional programs. So those professional development certificates, things like that. And we stay connected to the industry. And specifically for each audience, we can tell you what we provide and to who. So from a broad perspective, not just in engineering, we have our career focused continuing education courses, certificates, certifications, and professional development, which of course are geared towards general public and working professionals in and around the Charlotte region. For our corporate and custom training unit, we work with different businesses, government organizations, nonprofits, corporations to provide customized training for those organizations. So if we have industry professionals here, you may want to think about that. And for our students and alumni specifically, you heard David talk earlier about concentrations and energy. And you could actually develop another analogy here when you think about different ways that energy is produced, right? You have hydro, electric, solar. Those are all different things that you could stack on top of each other to create energy, right? When you think about your credentials, think about your degree, and what else can you provide to your credentialing stack to make yourself stand out as a professional in your field, okay? I don't know a lot about engineering or energy and engineering, but I know a lot about energy management, personal energy management. And if you're devoting your personal energy towards what matters to you, you're going to get it. So if career development matters to you or having a life beyond school matters to you, you focus your energy on those things that are going to help you professionally. We also have exam prep programs, so things like the FE exam and all the different concentrations within those, which Samantha is going to talk about later. And we also do things with kids and stuff in the community to provide summer camps, a lot of STEM summer camps and for those as well. I won't get into that today. This is just a list of a lot of our, sampling of our clients specifically in the energy industry and the most popular programs that they request to work with the university on when they're developing their workforce and providing that training to them. So some pretty big names up there. And right now we're going to go to the website to show you what you can find on continuinged.uncc.edu. And for some reason we put the wrong URL and defaulted right to medical coding, which you're probably not interested in. But if we go to what we offer and click on certificates, you'll be able to see, this is usually what the general public and working professionals are looking at. In your area specifically, check out the Lean Six Sigma, all the different belts there. And down below, I think we have we also have management essentials. If you want to think about how do I I come in as an engineer with the great technical background that I have as an engineer, but if I'm going to work with people and I want to move up in a management track, that might be something you want to explore at some point in your career. We also have things like project management, and talking with David earlier about our coating program, which isn't actually coating like polymers or photovoltaic, did I say that right? Polymer coating on material? No, this is coding, like web development coding. Okay. If you go in and look at our professional development section specifically, you can click on, which we could do right now, I guess, the PDHs. Who knows what a PDH is in engineering? Professional development hours, yes. And why are those important as you complete your degree and move on into become an engineer? Why do you need to keep your PDHs current? Yes, if you want to be a licensed.
Required by law.
Oh, okay. It's not just that; it's required by law. So if you don't want to be have any felons or misdemeanors or whatever on your record, no, I don't think you'd be considered that if you forget to do your PDH. But we have all those courses there for you, and for industry practitioners in the audience today, you can go check those out. And Sam's going to talk more about those as well. So now I know we're a bunch of engineers and we like to be very calculated and precise with our answers, but we're going to play a little guessing game. Okay? So you can step outside your comfort zone. First of all, where are classes located, do you think, for continuing education? Say again? Online? Yep, that's one place. So we have online. We're at the Center City campus, which is here right in the Center City of Uptown Charlotte. We do have classes on main campus from time to time, and of course off-site at different companies and locations. How many certifications do we offer? All right, it's 20. Who teaches in our programs? We have great faculty, and we also have industry practitioners who are currently working in the field, bringing it into the classroom. How many corporate clients do we serve? What's that? 50? That's pretty close. Relatively. How many exam prep programs do we offer? There's a ton, and a lot of them are in engineering specifically. And how many enrollments do you think go through our program? There's 28,000 something full-time students at UNC Charlotte, but how many enrollments do you think go through our continuing ed programs every year? 6,000 roughly. That's not an exact number, but year to year is about 6,000. So is some of the benefit or why people choose to do that. Again, career advancement, the strong reputation of UNC Charlotte, our customized corporate training programs, flexible schedules for those working professionals, and of course for people to be able to continually build that credentialing stack. Okay. And I'm going to turn time over to Samantha, who's going to talk specifically about some of our energy programs as well as our engineering general programs. And Samantha's been with us, like David said, about 12 years. So she started when she was about 12.
That's right.
And
I need the mic, unfortunately. I have a loud voice, but I think we're actually recording this, so
that's right.
I will try to speak quietly. It's difficult for me to do. Hey, you guys. I'm Sam Bumgarner. Like Asher said, I'm also over at the Center City building in continuing education. I'll try to be quieter. Let's see, I think we've backed it up a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about some courses that may interest you. I know we have a lot of students in here, so I'll kind of go that direction a little bit more, but just want to give you some information about what we offer uptown in continuing education. First and foremost, we have exam prep courses. We have a ton of them. Some that may be of most interest to you, especially coming out of undergrad or grad, would be an FE, exam review. These are these designations, these licensures to become a professional engineer. FE is kind of the introductory level. This is something you actually could use coming out of college. You don't need to have experience under your belt to sit for this exam. We do exam prep course for FE. We also do PE, exam review. Both of these are online courses, so you can take them live if you prefer that interaction. or if time is kind of, you need the flexibility with your time, you certainly can do so. We have pre-recorded sessions, so we have on-demand courses for you if that's kind of better of interest to you. So those are all online, the PE and FE exam reviews. Something that I personally manage is our professional development series. And to be honest with you, it's often that we have engineers who are currently in the industry who are actually in our courses. However, we're seeing more and more, it's kind of like what David was talking about, as we're getting undergrads and grads who want to add to their knowledge base, learn a bit more about certain topics that may not be in their undergrad field of study. Sorry, you guys. We're seeing them more and more coming to these professional development series courses. Most of them are one-day, half-day, 2-hour courses, and most of them are held at our Center City building. I know, is this driving everybody crazy? And I'm speaking quietly. I'm like whispering. Is that better? All right, I'm going to try to talk really quietly. Okay, so full day, half day, 2-hour courses. Again, they're at our Center City building. And I'm going to go over some of the topics that we offer, but there are discounts. So if you're a student, there's a 10% discount on all of our courses. Okay, so some of the courses that we're offering in our professional development series, is it just me? Okay, I'm going to do that. And might be of particular interest to you, especially folks who are in energy-related majors. We've got a renewable energy essentials course. This is a new topic that we're offering this year. Again, it's going to be at our Center City building. It's a full-day course. For those of you who are licensed engineers, all of these courses offer PDH credit, those professional development hours. I forget who knew that. That's awesome. If you are going to become a licensed engineer, many of you are, you're going to have to take some continuing ed hours to hold on to that licensure. So all of these courses carry those hours. So that's important to know. So come back to us in the future for these hours should you need them. But for now, a lot of these courses may be of particular interest to you, especially if these aren't really topics that you're seeing in your undergrad or graduate work. So Asher, if you want to just click on that Renewable Energy Essentials, I just want to show you the page. If you ever go to our website, you're going to get a full course description of what you're going to see, the prices, the dates, even down to the instructor down near the bottom there, Bobby Ralph. We use a lot of industry professionals. He happens to be an industry professional rather than faculty, though we do use faculty when we can, who comes in and teaches this course for us. So one-day courses, half-day, and 2-hour courses that we offer. Alrighty. Did I skip? I didn't. Okay, and this is something I actually in particular wanted to speak to you about. As you all kind of work towards your undergrad and graduate degrees, something that we're seeing more and more with our engineers is the need for project management skills. Most of you, when you get out there, you're going to be working on projects. Doesn't matter if you're civil, mechanical, or otherwise, you're going to find yourself working on projects. Many of you in your undergraduate and graduate degree work will not have been formally trained in how to actually manage a project, and they're actually a way to go about managing a project. So we offer, and we're seeing, again, I'd say at this point now, we're at probably about 50% of our audience in this project management certificate, they're engineers. So something to keep in mind, it's a great add-on to your resume as you're going out there and looking into the world, looking to get placed. I would say a project management certificate would be a great option for you. There's no prerequisite to apply for our project management certificate. It's simply a registration, not an application. And it's 6 two-day courses. Again, all these courses are held at our Uptown Center, and we've devised it so you can basically take the courses in the order that you want to and at the pace you want to. So if you want to work very quickly and finish in about 3 months, you can do it. If you need to take a year's time or more, you can do it that way as well. So that's one I really want you guys to keep in mind, is that project management certificate. Again, it's becoming more and more popular with our engineers. Something else that I think would be of particular interest to many of you are Lean Six Sigma. Have you all heard of Lean Six Sigma out there? Okay. It's a relative of project management, but there are belts related to this, kind of tiers of belts, kind of like karate. But you can come in, again, you don't have to apply to take these. It's just a registration, and several of them are online, so you can kind of do it as you'd like at your own pace. The white, the yellow, and the orange belts, the shorter belts right now, those are all available online through our Office of Continuing Education, so you can register for those anytime and complete those at your convenience. Our green, black, and master black are actually classroom-based. By spring, the green is going to move online, so if you're interested in that, these are great things to put on your resume. A lot of the industries actually utilize this Lean Six Sigma knowledge in their businesses, so it's just something that would be very beneficial to you as you're looking at a career move. And all of these courses, the Lean Six Sigmas and the Project Management Certificate, they all carry PDU credits. I know all of this is like, what are you talking about? But it's very similar to PDH, those professional development hours that licensed engineers need. Licensed project managers, they need PDU hours. So all of these courses also supply those PDU hours. And there are quizzes associated with all the Lean Six Sigmas in order to get that certification. You have to score 70% or more on those. All right, and I'm going to turn it back over to Asher. I'm sure you're relieved. I think the feedback will end somehow magically.
Maybe I'll just use this one.
You know what? That's a great idea. We'll turn this off. How about that?